Well, welcome to Just Settled. Today we have incredible guests, Paul and Melissa Kane in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you so much for joining us today. Paul and Melissa practice in the areas of estate planning and administration, business, probate, bankruptcy, personal injury, and discrimination, which is kind of the area of the case that we're discussing today. So again, Paul and Melissa, thank you so much for joining us on Just Settled.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course. So yeah, I guess just to get started, we understand you recently took on an extremely interesting pro bono case, and this was representing a military veteran, I believe. Can you tell us a bit about it and kind of how it came across your desk at the firm?
Sure. Well, we do like to do some outreach with veterans in the community as much as possible. Paul is a veteran from the Air Force. And we had this gentleman come in. He suffers from PTSD and has a service dog. And he went to a nationwide bank to open an account. When he walked in there, he was treated very poorly. And the teller that was there told him to, essentially go stand on the wall and wait for someone to take care of him, that she would absolutely not work with him at all to open up this account.
Now, that is pretty horrible. Why do you think in this case, why would the bank kick him out just for bringing in a service animal?
It was really bizarre. I think there were other people there that could help him that weren't open. This particular teller, maybe she had some bad history with animals. She was nervous. She acted a little erratically. Maybe she had a bad day. Who knows?
Okay. So when this case came to you, this obviously would be a civil suit, right? Not a criminal suit.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. And when the person, the military vet client approached you, what were they seeking in damages, or kind of what was your thought process around that in this kind of case? What was the goal of the case, of the outcome for the client?
They went after an undisclosed amount for damages, but for us, it was to determine that this was something that actually happened the way that the client told us, and that he hadn't misremembered it. So there was some due diligence to do on our end, and we did. And he checked out. His story checked out, and it gave us a lot more to go on with the bank.
Gotcha. Okay. Did the bank, I'm assuming they pushed back. How did the sort of exchange or back and forth go? Were there negotiations? What was their, argument when you came against them?
They did push back hard at first, and we went to 3 or 4 negotiations. The banker, obviously got transferred to the legal counsel for the bank, who we dealt with. And the banker attorney said that if he had waited, that he would have received service and that he left too early. And our position was, how long is fair to wait? And they didn't have a decent answer for that. And I also suspected that if I dug into it, I would discover something with the banker that would not help him, that probably everyone in that bank knew, that she had either a horrible day or a bad experience with dogs before. So I didn't think that would be too hard to pull out. And based on those factors, we eventually came to a settlement amount. And for our client, it was always more about the respect and the fact that he was humiliated more than the money. So that honestly wasn't a driving factor, obviously not for us either, because we took the case pro bono.
Right. So I guess that kind of dovetails into my next question, which is, what was the ultimate outcome of this case? I guess, what was the total timeline from beginning to end? How were you able to sort of secure victory for the client, and what did that look like for the client?
We ended up securing a settlement check for him. It was mailed to us, and the bank made it out directly to our client because we were not taking a fee, and we're kind of upfront about that. And he came to pick it up and sign necessary paperwork that went along with that. And that was relatively the end of it. From start to finish, it took less than 3 months.
Oh, wow. That's quick turnaround. And lastly, Melissa and Paul, obviously this was incredible that you were able to kind of take this case on, get justice for this client. If someone found themselves in a similar situation to this one, what would be your advice to anyone in that position?
Yeah, I think try to reach out to an attorney, make detailed notes on what happened, get any names of personnel involved, and just try to move forward and see if there's anything that can be done, especially with service animals and public humiliation and things like that. They have protections, and a lot of the time people just kind of walk off and try to shrug it off and look the other way. But doing that really makes it where it harms others behind them.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine it doesn't kind of continues the cycle, right?
Right.
In no cases, I mean, no situation is perfect. I think if they had acted in good faith here, this wouldn't have happened. If they had said, let's have you sit down, maybe in a cubicle, or taken him to a waiting area, or had him sit in an empty office for another banker, it would have been very different, even if he had to wait an extended period of time, than having him stand in the middle of the bank after the banker calls undue or unneeded scene for everybody else that was there.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much for sharing this case with us today on Just Settled. We really do appreciate it. You guys have been great guests. And again, it's Paul and Melissa Kane in Jacksonville, Florida. So anybody that needs their services, please reach out.